Hi everyone. We are all gathered here to get to know more about what Protocol Labs has to offer for this hackathon. So let's get started. Prior introduction of me. So this is Rish, developer advocate at FIL Builders, and let's get started. So let's get acquainted with what bounties do we have for this hackathon, starting with Filecoin Foundation. So you have 8,500 to grab, along with Storacha that has to offer 5,000. And then we have Akave, who is another on-ramp solution using which you can store data on Filecoin. So that offers you 2,500 USD with Onchain if you have got any AI-based solution that you can build on-chain. So you got to try out Onchain. Last, we have Protocol Labs, wherein you can stand a chance to win 1,500. All right, this is perfect. Thank you. All right, so hackers in the house. So every time when you get started building your solution in hackathon, something you might want to have in your kit is a starter kit, wherein you can just spin up your front-end application as well as have hard hat and smart contract functionalities in it. And that's what FillFrame brings to you. So some of the features that you have if you want to build your solution on Filecoin is maybe you might want to have a smart contract framework. So FillFrame comes with automated framework using which you can deploy your smart contracts in just a couple of minutes. Then you have ready to use front end. So you don't need to build anything from scratch and you can just roll out your dApp in just 10 minutes. So we talked about various on-ramp solutions. So during storing your data on Filecoin, you can offer for various on-ramp solutions, like maybe it can be Lighthouse, it can be Storacha, or it can be Akave for that matter. Last, you can also have programmable storage as well as access control. So let's assume that you have any private data or you want to have some access control over the data, you can offer this solution as well. And with DeFi, you might want to have a look at cross-chain breach, and that's what we provide it inside the kit itself using Xela. So lastly, this is all about FillFrame, and you are now all set to power up your dApps. So how do you get started with? So this is the portal wherein you would find all information about FillFrame. So you can take a moment for a sec and just scan this QR code, and you should be pointed towards FillFrame. All right. So let me just navigate to that, and here you go. So this is the home page for FillFrame, and you can just build your dApp by just going to your terminal and hitting this 5 set of commands, and you should have your smart contracts deployed as well as your front end set up in next 10 minutes. So let's just follow this like a tutorial, and we would be good to go. All right, I will just open my terminal, and so the first command goes like we need to create a Filecoin application. So I'll just copy this straight away and hit it on my terminal. So what you would love to have your project name as, maybe I will just create a new frame. So I will go for my frame. And now we provide you an option as to what kind of starter kit do you want to convert this into. Is it something you want to use Storacha as the on-ramp service provider? Or is it Lighthouse? Or is it Akave? Or if you want to have deal client that is storing data directly on-chain without making use of the on-ramp service providers. So we have like 4 options over here. Let's carry on with Lighthouse for this demonstration. So it would create me a customized dApp for Lighthouse. So as you can see that we just started with, and we have some error. So it just says that I need to use the node version which is compatible with the kit. So I will just switch it to this particular version. How do you do that? Yes. So I have switched to node version 20.9.0, and I should be good to go. So let's just hit the command again. I'll just name it as new frame and select Lighthouse as my on-ramp service provider. Cool. It will take just some time to install all the node dependencies that are required. So you don't need to install it explicitly again and again. We have done all it for you. So here we have our project is all ready to roll out under the name new frame. So I will just enter the directory. I'll just open the VS Code. Perfect. I'll just zoom in for you. Let's have a look at the directory structure. So inside package, we have two directories for you. The first one for the deployment of smart contracts, and that you can access via Hardhat. And the next one is Next.js, which handles all the front end for your decentralized application. So before deploying your smart contracts, the very first thing that you need to do is just edit the environment variables, and you will have to input your private key. So let's just do that. Perfect. So I will just grab my private key right over there. So if you are new to even MetaMask, I will help you out how you can do that. I have my MetaMask right open there. Just go to account details and it will just ask me to enter my password. Feel free to grab my private key. It's all on testnet, and feel free to use all the faucets right over there. Yeah. Perfect. So there we are, and I will just edit my environment variables. I have my private key right in place. So I just switch back to the terminal, and the first command I go for is compiling my smart contract, and that's yarn compile. So while our contracts get compiled, we can have a look at, okay, it's quite very fast, and we have our smart contracts compiled. So next step would be to deploy it, right? So let's just hit the command yarn deploy. So this command would deploy your smart contract straight on Filecoin calibration testnet. No configurations from your side required. The kit comes in with pre-built configurations. Meanwhile, the contract is deployed. Let's have a look at what kind of contracts is getting deployed right over here. So inside contracts folder, we have lighthouse nft.sol, which means that it's an NFT smart contract that is getting deployed. If you want to have your own custom smart contract, you just need to add your smart contract in the contract directory, and you would be good to do. Okay. So this should take around next some seconds while the contract gets deployed, and you can have all the scripts, the test cases for the smart contract written right there. The deployment scripts are also mentioned over here. So you just need to modify as per the name of your smart contract. That's it. Let's have a look if our contract is deployed. So it's still getting deployed. Let's give it another 15 odd seconds. And meanwhile, I will just make you acquainted with how does the front-end directory structure looks like. So if you go to Next.js, you have app section wherein you have various like navigations like Lighthouse. So all the integration is inside the Lighthouse folder itself. You don't need to navigate it further. Then various components like the assets as well as various pages, the routing you would be able to find out right there. Okay, and the contract integration and all the contracts can be fetched inside the contracts folder. Perfect. By now, we can have our contract deployed. So our contract is deployed, and it's waiting for our contract to be indexed. And here you can see the contract is verified. So just need to have some patience right there that the contract verification would be in the next version of FIL frame. For now, we have the contract deployed on the chain. So we are good to go. So now that our contract is deployed and our contract integration is done with the front end, we just need to hit the command yarn run dev, and within 10 seconds, 10 minutes, we have our front end ready. So let's head towards localhost. I will just enlarge this. Perfect. So let's just wait for all the files to be compiled, and we should be good to go. Meanwhile, I will just navigate through the FILFrame website where you can see that what are the various components this particular kit comes with. So you have storage deals, you have retrievals, you can look at data DAO concept as well as how FVM exactly works and what are the storage proofs and smart contracts associated with that. And these are the 3 storage on-ramp service providers. We have Lighthouse, Storacha, and Akawe. Like we just discussed in few minutes prior, that you can integrate this on-ramp service providers to store the data directly on Filecoin. Okay, we have the front end up and running right there. And if you see that since we have like opted for Lighthouse as the on-ramp service provider, you can just navigate to Lighthouse tab by clicking on it. And we have like couple of options here. The first one is mint a private NFT. So we learned about access control feature, so you can opt for that. But for you to see my NFT while we mint it, I will opt for mint and open NFT. So let's just choose a file from my, maybe I'll just select this. This looks good. So I've just chosen my file that I need to store on Filecoin, and I will just send a transaction wherein it will mint the NFT, create the metadata of the NFT, and transact that on Filecoin. So you can already see the CID of my file is generated and my data is already stored on Filecoin via Lighthouse service provider. So this should take roughly around like 30 odd seconds, and then your NFT would be displayed there. Along with that, we do have some starters where you don't need to navigate through various documentation of WAGMI, and you can have how you can actually read data from your smart contracts there. So you can see like there are 3 variables which I have. The first one is get total supply, what's the name, and what's the symbol. So the name of the NFT is Lighthouse NFT, and the symbol is LNFT. And here you can see that it automatically fetched and displayed my NFT once it got minted. So don't need to worry about anything, and you can just, maybe I'll just refresh this parameter, and here you can see now the total supply has incremented to 1, since now this particular NFT collection or the contract has 1 NFT in its store. So that's how quickly you can just set up your application. So you can just, if you are someone who comes from like working more on the contract part, you can just spin up your front end as well as deploy the smart contracts in 10 minutes. So I hope the hackers would love this. And meanwhile, we wrap up with this demonstration. You can see that you can switch between the networks. So we have integration with Filecoin mainnet as well as calibration. So you can do that as well, as you have like the facility to disconnect your wallet and connect back at it again. Also, you can copy the wallet address as well as display the QR code if you want to share your address or need that feature in your application. So that was pretty much about how you can make use of FILFrame. Maybe I will just go back to my slides and let's have a look at it. Like if you missed or like you want to revisit how to make use of this application. So this is a tutorial wherein you can just revisit the whole session and just relearn about how to use this FILFrame starter kit. Perfect. Let's just wait for, I can see some folks still scanning the QR code. So let's just wait for them. Can you scan it? Yeah, perfect. And in case like you missed, wanna have like complete support during the hackathon, you can just join our Telegram, which is built specifically for this hackathon, and we would be always there to support you and resolve your any doubts right over there. Awesome. So that was pretty much about building a decentralized application on Filecoin and spinning that up for the hackathon in 10 minutes. So that's what we did in exact 10 minutes as well. So that's a good one to go. So if you have any questions, we can discuss that.
Okay. Okay. The first question is exactly how can an app qualify for any of the bounties? I heard that it's not enough to use IPFS. You actually have to use Filecoin.
Right, so that's an interesting question. So what I would suggest you is like if you want to store the data on Filecoin, so Filecoin actually guarantees you the data is stored securely. But on IPFS, you don't have that guarantee. So if using this on-ramp service providers, they does the same thing. They have a JavaScript SDK using which you can integrate in the same way you store the data on Filecoin, but on IPFS, sorry. So using Storacha, Akave, as well as Lighthouse, you can, just store the data on using this on-ramp service providers, and the data would be directly stored on Filecoin. So that's the thing you need to do to become eligible for this bounty.
Oh, so we have to, so to qualify, it's to use one of the providers.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Hi. So I looked a little bit into it, and it said like you need to have the storage deal made on Filecoin. But then when you look at the Lighthouse documentation, it says until the storage deal is completely finished and it's verified on Filecoin, it can take up to 2 days, which would be like the whole hackathon. So how is that interacting with the bounty?
Right. So when you are making use of Lighthouse, it's an on-ramp service provider. So it doesn't store a single file in Filecoin. It would be aggregating all the data. It will bundle up and then store it. So if you are using it, the Lighthouse SDK would still provide you a callback wherein you would be like getting the result that your data is securely stored. Even if it takes like couple of days or whatever time, it won't take that much of time, but you would be assured that your data is securely stored and the deal is getting created.
So even if we don't have the Filecoin storage deal yet via Lighthouse, that would be okay with the bounty?
Yep. This one? Yep. Oh, okay. This is the website. Yep.
Okay, I want to ask about so Fill Frame framework is on-chain data storage apps. What make it distinguish from like Web 2 data storage like AWS S3 or AWS S3? What make it distinguish beside of decentralized?
Can you just come again? Like, can you talk?
Okay, what make Filecoin distinguish from Web 2 file storage like AWS S3 beside of decentralization?
Right. So the very first thing is, it's if you just navigate through Filecoin documentation, you would find the comparison between the existing centralized solution for this. Filecoin is way more cheaper data storage, as well as you have an option to the one who is storing the data, he can't see your data exactly. But on like any centralized solution or any existing Web 2 solutions, they do have access to your data, right? So that's the first one which you can say. As well as you get an option as to how many replications of your data do you want to make. As well as which service providers do you want to store the data, and for how much amount of time do you want the data to be stored. So this all customizations, apart from just being a decentralized solutions, you get these features as well.
Okay, thank you.
I guess that's it, and we are ready to go. Happy hacking, and excited to see you what you built on Filecoin. Thank you.